Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to go over the Thunder's first loss of the season. They dropped a very tough one against the Portland Trail Blazers, 121 to 119. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the stuff surrounding that. We're also going to look ahead to pretty much the rest of the month of November and kind of get our outlook on that and kind of where the Thunder will be at by the end of this month. And then we'll kind of get into some talks about the Bulls, Warriors, and this Thunder team on the record stuff. There's been a lot of 70 wins talk, so we'll kind of talk about that in general. But don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, guys, down below. It helps out the channel tremendously. So if you are a daily viewer of this channel, just please hit the subscribe button. It helps out the channel so much. But OKC drops their first game of the season to the Portland Trail Blazers, 121-119. And I told you guys, this really felt like a trap game from the get-go. We obviously were on a back-to-back from the Clippers a night ago. And this really is in a very unfortunate game. We look at the Thunder, and at the end of the first quarter, they were up 20 already. They were up 41-21. We were like, okay, good. We don't have key pieces playing, and we're up 20 by the end of the first. This should be another easy one. Maybe Shea doesn't have to play another fourth quarter, and we can get out looking at 9-0. And then you look at the box score. That's the only quarter the Thunder looked really good at. In the second quarter, they got outscored by nearly double digits. Third quarter got outscored by 10. And then in the fourth quarter, got outscored by nearly 10 again. So it was just really an unfortunate collapse and something that you normally don't see this Thunder team do. And now, especially with this first loss coming, and now especially against a team like the Trailblazers, who should be tanking and trying to go for losses, and the Thunder should beat them, there's going to be a lot of trolls and people talking about how this is going to be the beginning of the end. It is just one game at the end of the day. It sucks that it has to be against a team like this. But like I said, it really just felt like a trap game from the get-go. I know those back-to-backs are so hard, and especially on the West Coast time. And really, when you're without probably your three best defenders on the team, it really showed out tonight. The Thunder did not have Chet, Dort, or Caruso out there, and it really showed up. Obviously, we still had great pieces out there. Shea, Hartenstein, Wiggins had an amazing game. Wallace, all of these guys out there that are contributing. But when you don't have three guys, two of them being starters and one guy pretty much being one of the first two guys off the bench most nights, when you don't have that, you can really struggle, and we saw that. I mean, you look at the offensive end, Shea did his thing. He had 35, 9, and 4, just continuing to show off. Wiggins had an amazing performance tonight, nearly a 30 bomb. A.J. Mitchell had another 20-plus. Isaiah Hartenstein another double-double. So you look all across the scoreboard, and it's like the Thunder did their part on the offensive end, but it's that defense. The Thunder just could not stop the balanced attack of the Trailblazers. They had all their starting lineup was in double digits, had multiple guys over 20 points. Denny Avia had a crazy game, 26 points. He's continuing to prove why I think he's a very possible candidate for most improved player of the year. And the Trailblazers team, like I said, they have been really good. They've been playing really well all season. Now they're 5-3. They just upsetted the champs, gave them the first loss of the season. So for the Trailblazers side of things, they're looking really good. They're riding that momentum as they should, and they're going to continue to do stuff. So it's going to be up to the Thunder. The Thunder last season did not have, I don't think they lost more than 3 games in a row, especially back-to-back. I think they only lost one back-to-back game all of last year. So now it's going to be up to the Thunder tomorrow night when they play the Kings in NBA Cup group play. It's an NBA Cup stuff, but those games still count, so the Thunder still want to get after it. The Kings, we've already beaten them so far, but that was at home. Now you're going to have to go into Sacramento. We know how Russ plays. You know how good Domantas Sabonis can be at times. So the Thunder really need to lock in. Hopefully we can get back on. And then 10 games in, you're looking at a 9-1 record. Still at the end of the day, that is nothing to worry about. And the Thunder are still the best team in the league. It's just we knew that one loss would come eventually. Unfortunately, it was just last night against the Portland Trail Blazers in a tough one. I mean, they were down by, I believe, 5 with like 7 seconds left. It almost had a chance. They gave Isaiah Joe an amazing look to tie it and go into overtime and possibly win it there. Just unfortunate stuff, could not hit shots, and unfortunately just lost that one. But now we'll kind of talk about and look ahead into the Thunder's rest of the November schedule, their next 11, 12 games. And we're really looking at this from a standpoint, they will be 21 games in at the end of November. They'll have 12 games remaining after the 9 games they played, so we're at 21 by the end of November. And really the only teams that, at least in the month of November, that I could see or that we should really be like cautious about and kind of have that game circled on our calendar is two. I think you can look at the Lakers game coming up here on November 14th. It's an ESPN game, but it is going to be at home against the Lakers, so that's going to be a big one. LeBron will be somewhat close or returning right around that time for the Lakers, so that'll be big. They got Luka over there, and Luka always wants to prove a point, especially against the Thunder and against Shea, who he's always going to be going up against for MVP, especially in this season. And I think another one that we can kind of look a bit more towards the end of November is the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's another nationally televised game on ESPN. Ant always gives his best shot to Shea. Him and Shea always going at it is amazing TV. So those two games are kind of ones that can kind of maybe get us trouble. But you obviously, like we just saw last night, the Trailblazers, they can get hot. They can really start to shoot, and some nights it's just enough to get over a team like the Thunder. But the Thunder have a very favorable schedule in November. They have teams like the Jazz multiple times, the Pelicans. They have the Suns mixed in there. So there's a lot of teams that this Thunder team can beat. And I'm hoping around that by the end of November, when we're 21 games in, I realistically think that we can be 18-3, 19-2. I would put my money on us being around that point, especially I would guess around 18-3. I just think that this team is going to be very good for all season, and we're going to have these couple of bumps, but it's how the guys respond, especially going into Friday. You're going to be in Sacramento. They have really good fans. Their fans show up, and it's in an NBA Cup, so you're going to have a different vibe to it. So it's going to be up to the guys to go out there and make new of this and try to go back out there and create another 8, possibly 10-game winning streak and get right back on track. Because these teams that we're about to talk about did just that. And we're talking about how the 2026 OKC Thunder will shape up against the 96 Bulls and the 16 Warriors. And if you notice a trend, 96, 16, 26, all ending in 6 when these 70-win seasons happen. And it's kind of tough to talk about because now you lose, and you were hoping you were going to start off 9-0 and really go on a run where you don't lose for a while. But I think in a sense, possibly getting that first loss out of the way can be almost of a blessing in disguise for the guys. Obviously, if you get to a point where you're creeping up into the close to 20-0s, every game you start feeling like, all right, let's not let this one be the first one. You maybe start to do things that really don't fit you normally. I think if you can get that first loss out of the way now, nobody's undefeated, nobody's worried about trying to do that. You just go back out there and play your game. But looking at how the Bulls and Warriors kind of start out, the Bulls start off actually worse than this Thunder team. They started out 5-1, and then they went on 2 10-game winning streaks. They started out 5-1. After they lost that first one, they went on another one. They were 15-1, lost another one, and then they went on another streak. And when they ended, by the end of their 30 games, they were like 27-3. So that's a big mark to get. And then you obviously go back to those 2016 Warriors. They started off 24-0, and now obviously that is not in play for the Thunder. But you look at it, and around that 30-game mark, both of those teams were in that 27-3 to kind of in that range. So if the Thunder really want to be on pace to maybe get that 70-win season, I think by the end of those 30 games, so that would be looking at around possibly Christmas time against the Spurs and Wemby, you want to be in that range of possibly 25-5 to 27-3 and really looking good and feeling good about yourself. Obviously, 74-8 is going to be tremendously hard, but I think 70 wins, just 70-12 or 71-11, is still very possible for this team. They have to They will have to go on multiple win streaks of 10 plus. I think we got to see a win streak of close to 20, or if not more than 20, and then see a couple of other streaks where they go off for nearly 10 wins or go off for 10 wins and just keep piling those up. You really can't have, if you're going for 70 wins and you want to be a 70-win team and look back on these Bulls and Warriors teams, I think only the Warriors lost back-to-back games. I don't even think the Bulls lost back-to-back games. So it's going to be up to the Thunder. Even if you somehow lose back-to-back games at some point in the season where maybe you just get unlucky and stuff happens, you got to quickly turn that around and turn it into a big-time winning streak. Obviously, the players are never going to say they're going to go for that, but come February, March, when there's still nearly 2 months left in the season, maybe the Thunder are just so good that they pretty much have that 1 seed locked up. Are they going to have that as their goal now to go out there and possibly get 70 wins? I mean, you were 2 wins away last year, and if you looked at some of those losses, there were some of those where it's like these against the Portland Trail Blazers where it's so close at the end, it's just one shot doesn't hit and it kind of falls through towards the end. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Thunder approach this, but still think they're on a very high path to possibly get that 70-win mark and be right up there with the 96 Bulls and 16 Warriors. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about that loss. What was kind of frustrating to you? What stood out to you? Obviously, I didn't talk about him much, but Aaron Wiggins had a tremendous game, 27 points. Really stepped up in the absence of Chet, Caruso, and Dort, and unfortunately, it just was not enough. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.